Trevor, speaking of biting my tongue, let's go to your Toronto Blue Jays versus the Seattle Mariners up in Toronto. Maybe the most balanced talent on the field. I don't know how you say it, but I think everyone was excited to see these young teams go at it. Louise Castillo, Alek Manoah. Talk about two guys that probably manscape very differently. I mean, Manoah, you know it's powerful. And Castillo, I bet there's a design. I don't know if you can bring the cat scratch down there. I've tried. Didn't work so well for me.
I think you can.
I think you can. Why
I think
not?
they might both have cat scratches. What are the young guys doing? I guess Castillo's not a young guy, but he's got the style.
I could see Manoah having a full baseball with the laces and stuff and just
Like
trim
his
around it.
number. He's like I got my number.
Yes. Yes.
Like when he was a kid playing like youth baseball, he had a chain with his number on it. No doubt.
1,000%. 1,000%. And the number that you guys need to have in mind is 20% off because that's what you're getting from Manscaped plus free shipping with code Talkin. You guys know the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best in the biz. And when you get their whole package, you get the Weed Whacker ear and nose. Get rid of that stuff, guys. What are we doing? The crop preserver, deodorant, you need it. And this whole performance package 4.0 comes with boxers, the travel bag. I use that, and the boxers. Man, go to manscaped.com and use code TALKIN. You'll get 20% off plus free shipping. Take care of your downstairs, man. Why not? It's playoff baseball. I did
Well,
before the games
maybe
today.
playoff beard.
I took it down.
So you're on the opposite way.
And speaking of taking it down, Luis Castillo, what he did to that Toronto lineup, oh boy, and does it look right, man. There is something, every baseball player, whether you're a pitcher, a hitter, infielder, outfielder, you have your own mannerisms and it looks different between your body type and your throwing angle. Something about when Luis Castillo does it, it looks as pretty as it can on a baseball field. And Trev, what this came down to was a mix of that and a first inning, which is so shocking because Alek Manoah, especially at home, I don't think he'd given up an earned run in the first inning at home all year. He'd been lights out recently in September. He'd been incredible. The Seattle Mariners put up a 3-spot in the first. How is your big dumper 2-run homer following your boy Eugenio with the RBI double? And man, that Toronto crowd that I've talked about ad nauseum, they tried to come back. They saw some big Vlad and Bichette bats. They could never really get back into it. They get shut out. Castillo to Munoz. Mariners win 4-0.
We talked about the first inning. What was that going to be like? Manoah likes to throw inside. He's hit more batters than any other pitcher in the big leagues this year. How do you get Julio Rodriguez out? Well, you throw him high and tight. Ends up nailing him first at bat. And then we also talked Eugenio Suarez. I put the accent on the wrong syllable there. That's my bad, people. Eugenio Suarez has been hitting sinkers this year, and he took that sinker to right field and just had a professional swing, and that silences the crowd right away. And you're right, dude. If you're a crowd and that happens right away where you just get punched in the face, like it's hard to recover. You need the Jays offense to recuperate and to give you something to cheer about. That didn't happen. But Cal Raleigh's at bat, I thought was interesting, dude. I was watching that. He gets one fastball to hit, misses it. He gets another fastball to hit, and misses it. He ain't going to miss a third. Rarely do you ever, in a major league at bat, get two good pitches to hit. It rarely. I mean, we're talking about 1% of the time. Do you get 3 pitches to hit in an at bat? And he did. He didn't miss that third one, man. And those 3 runs with a guy like Castillo on the mound, I mean, that is, you talk about drawing it up. If you're the Mariners and what you want to do, go out there and score first. Shut that crowd up and have Luis Castillo come out and shut the offense down. And he did, man. It was textbook of what the Mariners wanted to do, and they did it.
Man, Louise Castillo. I know I gave a little soliloquy there and talked about how beautiful it looks, but some guys can also make it look beautiful and not get the results. This guy got the results. 7.1, 6 hits, 0 walks, 0 earned runs. Strikes out the side in the 7th. Your boy Chappie, Tapia, and Jansen, if I'm remembering correctly.
Chappie was so dejected, bro. He foul tipped that one, and Big Dumper ended up catching it, and he was just like, "Fuck." I know that feeling, dude.
The foul tip feeling is one of the worst in baseball. Like, wait, I did the thing that lets me continue my at bat, but it doesn't count.
Let's keep running off the Castillo stuff because we have some really great notes on him. The Blue Jays were in scoring position just twice in this game. Twice. They had 4 hard hit balls all game. That's 95 miles an hour or higher. No extra base hits. He was throwing 1.5 miles an hour faster than usual. His sinker velo was up 1.7 miles per hour. He hit 100 miles per hour 5 times throughout the game. That's not typical of him. I know he throws hard, but a hunch? 17 batted balls, 10 were ground balls. You keep people in the park, you win postseason games. Luis Castillo, you have to give credit to the Mariners front office for going out and getting that guy because everybody wanted him. Every team was in on this guy, and they put the package together to go get him. And I heard whoever was on the game, was it Kirkchin? Somebody was on the game. I forget who it was talking about, I talked to a rival executive and he told me the haul was just too much. It's like, it ain't too much if you get this.
I talked to a rival executive.
Yeah. So like, yeah, he was saying, like, if your other teams watching this series and watching Luis Castillo pitch in the postseason, you're probably saying, why didn't we give up that much for this guy? He is incredible. And then, of course, they signed him to the extension. This guy's going to be a Mariner for a long time. You talk about looking the part. You're right, dude. This guy, that's who you want on the mound, man. It's like 0 fucks given. This is what I got, and you have no chance. The change up, everything. It's the definition
of, we talk about it sometimes, whether it's guys and their approaches, hitting or pitching. I'm gonna do me. If you wanna adjust to what I'm trying to do, knock yourself out, but I'm going to do me. I think there was a J.P. Crawford quote, not just to drop his name, but during the broadcast, where they were like, when he came over, they wondered, he said something like, how come he doesn't have a Cy Young? Never mind, how doesn't he have multiple Cy Youngs with how gross this dude is? And yeah, man, there's something to a stat page, which I use a ton. I live on Baseball Reference, Baseball Savant, Fangraphs, all those pages. We talked leading up into the trade deadline, like Luis Castillo, probably the best pitcher available. Frankie Montas, probably the next guy available. I don't know how much of this is a salty Yankee fan, and if you want to reel me back, I'll let you. But those guys aren't in the same area code of what they can do on a baseball field.
Area code maybe is a little stretch. But yeah, Luis Castillo is a better pitcher.
So for them to lock him up, that 5 for 108 is already looking incredible. First Seattle Mariners pitcher to throw 7+ scoreless innings in the postseason. Randy Johnson, Jamie Moyer, big game Freddie Garcia. Are you kidding me? Nope. Luis Castillo is the first one to do it. And again, like, this is a vaunted, I mean, that's a weird word, but it is. Like, this Blue Jays lineup is what it's supposed to be. Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Kirk, Teoscar, Chapman. I mean, Chapman and Springer, they each have 2 hits. Springer has to come out of the game and get some x-rays. We'll see what's going on there. I guess they have more than half the hits. If you're Toronto at home, I know that's a bad man on the bump. I know the guy that followed him. If you don't know him, Munoz, sheesh. How do you hit that? You got to push a run across in this playoff game. Because I was told there was going to be a movie, Trev, and I didn't love this movie for them.
I'll say the same thing, man. You just got to put this game behind you. You got Gossman going for you. You know the offense can click at any moment. I do want to ask you about that Springer hit by pitch by Castillo. I'm watching the game, man. Julio Rodriguez gets hit twice. There were some balls up and in. We know Manoah, that's just the kind of guy he is. But at a certain point, if you're the other team, you don't like that. And people have heard me talk on this show a lot about how I don't like hitters getting hit. I don't. But I understand if Louise Castillo went there and went up and in to Springer. You hit Julio twice.
Right.
Were they in on purpose? No, but you were going up there, and you have shaky command. You hit a lot of players. If this was on purpose, I don't love it, but I understand it. I don't know if that's going to make Blue Jays fans hate me.
No,
but just think about it, man. Your dude went up to their center fielder and hit him twice, and pitched him tough in. Okay. This is the game we play. There was a quote on House of Dragons.
Oh boy.
We play a dangerous game. Sometimes our game does get dangerous. When you're going up and in, as much as Manoah goes up and in, there are times where you're going to have to answer for that. Not him. Clearly, he ain't going to be in the box, but somebody on the team's going to have to answer for it. Luis Castillo goes out there. That was his one batter? No, okay. He went 7 1/3. Yeah. But that was his last batter, I think.
Trev, I don't think anyone...
Do you feel that way?
I don't think anyone should be mad at you. I think it's a gray area of baseball because, A, we don't know what was going through Luis Castillo's pitch in that moment. Was he probably trying to get Springer off the dish and send a message? I think so. We got 2 leadoff center fielders. One is like the brightest up-and-coming star of baseball. The other guy is a guy that I try to laud who he is and what he is in like baseball history for center fields and leadoff homers. It's an up and in pitch, and that
I'm watching it again. It's a 1-2 pitch. He was set up away. He did lose it completely arm side, but
do you want to put on a base runner in a 4-run playoff game? I don't know. Do you want to send a message? Maybe. And hey, that's the other side of the coin that you touched upon. And Trev, we dove into this a couple episodes ago about Manoah, how he leads the league in hit by pitch. And is that effectively wild? And he's this big burly character that intimidates you? Well, maybe you're going to get the horns from another team. And maybe that's what happened. And maybe he also got burnt by it. He's got Julio Rodriguez down 0-2. And then he hits him with that pitch in the first inning. I don't think he wanted to do that. And then look what happened. So, I don't know. We'll never know. I think we might find out more tomorrow with a couple of early pitches in that game. But I don't know. Anything else on this one before we talk a little bit more about tomorrow?
I think the game plan's the same for Seattle. Go try to score first. If you're Toronto, wake the bats up. Robbie Ray back in town. What's up?
Yeah.
I think both these guys are happy. Both these teams are happy with who they're sending out there. But, this series is very far from over. This Toronto offense came in clicking. One bad game against the guy who you said just looks the damn part of an ace and is an ace. You just got to move on, man. I don't think there's any pitchers that aren't available for tomorrow. Again, it's all hands on deck. It's going to be another great game.
And by the way, I mentioned how good Munoz is. There's other guys in that pen that are really, really good that didn't get touched yesterday. So, and Logan Gilbert, who would be lined up for that third game or a first game of the next series, that guy's been nails. He's ready to go. So Seattle,
he's the only one. Him and Castillo are the only people wearing turfs tomorrow. Everybody else, bring your spikes.
They might there's an argument that Seattle might be sitting like as pretty as any team left in this wild card round. I mean, Robbie Ray, Gilbert. I know Ray hasn't been as sharp lately. You didn't use a lot of your pen. I know we said this with Cleveland a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know.
Cleveland's been pretty too. Yeah.
Blue Jays. Like, I want to believe. I know Jimmy can be tough on you guys sometimes. He doesn't love the flair. Guess what? I like a little flair. I'm wearing 3 necklaces right now. If I was if I was 23 years old and Vladito Jr., guess what? I already act like kind of an asshole. I can't imagine the swag I would have if I thought I was that guy. Bring it, Toronto. Because if not now, it's going to be a loud offseason. Like, you got your manager fired this year. They brought in someone else.
It was a short film.
These baby Jays.
In Cons, it was only 6.5 minutes, but they got a 10-minute standing ovation.
I feel like you'd be a big Cons guy.
Why did they let me just talk about this for a second. When they talk about these movies and there was a 7-minute standing ovation, bullshit. Do you know how long 7 minutes is to stand there and clap? It didn't happen. I don't believe it. Not one fucking bit.
Hopefully,
let's go Toronto, rock it, man.
Hopefully the fans in Toronto are ready to rock and give a standing ovation tomorrow. And a genuine thing in Toronto, I pulled the plug on them at the end of our predictions, and we're Yankee fans and all this. Maybe you won't believe this. I am rooting for the Jays, man. There are so many good baseball players on that team. Like, I think they can give Houston a better punch than Seattle, just from divisional stuff and if they play with their hair on fire. But all is not if we don't get a couple wins in the next couple days.